This is the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast, episode 368.
I program my home computer.
We have a server crash. 404 error. Page not found. Links aren't working. System is crashing. System is crashing. System is crashing.
Your old HTML website. Barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website. Better than it was before. Better. Stronger. Faster. We have the technology.
Well, hello everyone. This is Adam Silver, the host of the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, upcoming events. There are none the rest of this month of March 2021, but it doesn't stop you from just kind of poking in on maybe a meetup or something, but no official WordCamps online to share. But I do have a couple job employment opportunity to share with you. My friends over at Corner Shop Creative are currently hiring for the following positions. They're looking for 3 roles: a digital content strategist, an email production associate, and a support manager. They're a great group of people. They do a lot of work in the nonprofit space. They're awesome. So check them out over at cornershopcreative.com. I'll put a link in the show notes to all 3 of those roles as well. All right, moving on, segment 1 in the news. The one thing to talk about here was WordPress 5.7 did come out. The name is Esperanza, and there are a lot of changes going on here, but just 3 highlights real quick. Font size adjustment is in more places, which is pretty cool. Reusable blocks, several enhancements were made there as well, more stable and easier to use. And they also save automatically with the post when you click the update button. And the inserter drag and drop, the block patterns, the inserter is right there into your post. So if you're using, obviously, Gutenberg and just the newer versions of everything across the board, there are a lot of features that check that out. So back up your site, install 5.7. By the way, I have updated a handful of sites already to 5.7. And so far, knock on wood, no problems. So it's good to go there. All right, that it in the news? Yeah, that's it in the news this week. Moving on, segment 2, the meat and potatoes of this week's show, auction sites for WordPress. So I recently had a friend reach out to me asking for help to raise funds to cover medical expenses for her cousin's daughter, who's about 5 years old, sadly has a medical condition. And of course, as we are in the pandemic, in-person events are not happening, so online it shall be. Her approach, my friend's approach was, and the idea came from something she attended a few months ago, where it was an online trivia night, and they sold tickets to participate where you can win prizes, so it's not gambling. And the cost of the ticket was $25. But she also wanted to have a way so people just donate pure money directly through like a Give WP, which would be fine there. But also to bid on auction items like gift baskets. So of course, once she said bidding on items, that key next word would be an auction. And so I dug into the WordPress repo and I thought, WordPress and auctions. And yes, there are a bunch of plugins that enable this, some free, some paid. And I tested a handful of these to see how difficult would it be to set up a auction site on WordPress, and not that hard, turns out. So I started with a couple of different plugins here, but I narrowed it down to 3, starting with the Ultimate WordPress Auction plugin. They have both a paid version and a free version. And the free version right off the bat adds a custom post type to the dashboard. Fairly straightforward. 4 different tabs from settings to payment. You can do payment through a PayPal, wire transfer, check, or cash. You can add an auction, manage an auction. And there's some other sub features in there as well. So I dug into this. I created the auction. It was really simple. You can add up to 4 images or videos, I suppose, as well. You can set the price. You can have a minimum bid, an increment of a set level for increments. You can also do a buy it now, which I thought was pretty cool. Expiration day and time. Now, the overall implementation here was really simple. Using the built-in shortcode they give you works just fine. Styling wasn't ideal out of the box. I did see, though, as I dove a little bit deeper into it, that the Beaver Builder sandbox that I have, I could see in the settings there for advanced according as I use EUABB as well, I could see the custom post type and I can bring that content in. So once I know I can bring that content in through Beaver Builder, I'm fairly confident that we could style that content as well any way we want it to look. So what I found lacking in this one, the Ultimate WordPress Auction plugin, was this, that the bids can only be done when I'm logged into as a user. And you have to have an account, which makes sense, but I didn't see any documentation indicating that up front at all. So I'm like, why can't I bid on this? and it had to create a user. So you have to turn the users on. People have to have a way to do that. Obviously, you have to have an account page, kind of say. I guess you'd want to say that there. Additionally, the plugin offers a pro level. So I was curious what the paid and pro versions, what are the differences there? And first and foremost, I clicked on the pro level button, which takes you to a website called auctionplugin.net, which is now actually called Ultimate Woo Auction Pro, which apparently is tied into WooCommerce. So it felt really kind of jumbled and discombobulated. It kind of felt not bait and switchy, but at the same token, like, wait a minute, it's called Ultimate WordPress Auction Plugin, and now you're taking me to something that's called auctionplugin.net that is tied into WooCommerce. The first one wasn't, now this one is. I thought that was weird. So that led me to checking out another one called WP Auctions. It's a paid-only plugin. I used their demo site because I couldn't get a copy of it. So I just, created an account on their demo, and there's a lot more settings than the first plugin, and it's on their hosted demo server. So I couldn't take my my images and see anything on the front end. All I could see was the back end, how it was implemented. So for what I can see in their demo, it wasn't all that nice looking. I'm sorry to say. It was a bit messy on the front end. Like I took my image, and I couldn't even upload my image. I'm sorry. I created the auction, added some content, but then I couldn't see it on the front end. I could only see their demo on the front end, which I thought was weird. So anyway, it looked messy. They were showing a lot of different ways how an auction product would look on the front end, like from a post, a page, a widget. It was all crammed together to one kind of messy layout, if you will. Anyway, wasn't all that impressed there. It's a relatively affordable one. I think it was like $40, but I moved on to check out what WooCommerce directly had, because the research I did here was a lot of things were tied into WooCommerce. So I went over to woocommerce.com, found one called Auctions Made Easy, tried it out. This adds a field to your WooCommerce product settings for auction. You have virtual, downloadable, physical product, but now you have another add-on custom post type for the word auction. And it had a lot more settings within its own custom post type settings, short codes galore for different watch lists, featured auctions, a future auction that could start later date. Very interesting opportunity here, I think, to really put something together that could be really neat. And it ties into your WooCommerce store, so you can actually have a whole page for your store page that says products for sale, and auctions could be right there as well. Again, easier, and it made more sense that you had to be logged in or have an account on the page. So I did that, and it updates on the back end really quickly. Like if someone makes a bid for a product, you can see the latest bid, you can see when it closes. Lots of email opportunities there as well. So much easier there, I thought, for myself, because I already have experience with Woo. So there's that. So some final thoughts on auctions and WordPress. Why do you want to build an auction site with WordPress, first and foremost, versus using some other platform? Well, a few reasons come to mind. Some of those other platforms might be free, but if they're free, then you become the product. Remember that, okay? There's always some trade-off. What are they marketing to? How are they going to use your data, etc.? Then there's the fees. Many of them have a monthly or yearly fee, can be expensive. Some of them have credit card processing fees on top of the standard credit card. One of the ones I saw out there charged 1% on top of Stripe. So now you're paying, instead of 2.9, you're paying 3.9 plus the 30 cents or the 29 cents. So, and then the issue, of course, who owns the data, the content, and even the buyer list. Like, do you get to export that? Is it yours so they can do a thing with it? Just want to make sure you read those terms and conditions when that might come into play. For another reason is you might want to have a specific community or user or audience. eBay is huge. It's a huge world out there, but your audience is your audience, and you might have cultivated that. So you can actually reach your target audience with your auction site. If you're going to auction things off specifically in a certain niche, that is a great way to go about it, is to set up your own auction. And lastly, do it for yourself, because building an auction site means you can sell your products to the highest bidder without any middleman between you and your buyer. So why would I want to give up any percentage to beyond credit card processing to an eBay or to a third-party service? So, that's a thought there as well. So finally, which plugin to go with? Well, if you're running WooCommerce and you're familiar, I think you might want to check that out for sure. That third one I tried out, the Auctions Made Easy, is a premium plugin as well. But again, it was, I think, $75 bucks. I think that's what it was. Yeah, $75, $80. Pretty affordable. If you need a quick win, that base level of the Ultimate plugin could also work. Again, not super sexy, if you will, or design-wise in the front end, but it's clean, it's basic, really simple to set up, and no WooCommerce experience needed at all. So it just depends on where you are at with your site experience and setting things up that way. So there you go. All right, hope that helps. If you have interest in setting up an auction site using WordPress. That was pretty cool. Anyway, all right, moving on here, segment 3, tip and tool of the week. Oh, this week's tip is another podcast. It's actually the WP Briefing podcast. Very short episodes about the overall project of WordPress itself. Really interesting. Josepha Hayden Chomsky is the host of it. She is the executive director of the WordPress project now. I believe that's her title. Really good show. I'm really enjoying it. Check it out. Link in the show notes. It's called the WP Briefing Podcast. So check that out. All right. That's it this week. If you have any questions, go ahead and send it in via email. I'm Adam@KitchensinkWP.com. Use the SpeakPipe function on the website. If you want to support the show, you can become a Patreon. That'd be great. If you want to sponsor the show, there's a form on the website. Would also be fantastic. If you have a side hustle idea and you're looking for some business coaching and accountability, hit me up over at adamsilver.com. Thanks for listening. See you next week. Now go out and do some awesome things with WordPress. All right. Bye-bye.